Welcome to Comic Toy Reviews, and Rob here, and I'm going to discuss my views on certain comic book movie news and just give my opinion on it as a longtime comic book fan, knowing the source material, but also knowing some about the movie business, but just a fan. I don't have inside knowledge or anything like that. And let's begin. The first topic to talk about is The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone and featuring Jamie Foxx as Electro. And where is the Amazing Spider-Man movie franchise going? Well, so far, I think with Mark Webb and especially Andrew Garfield that it's in good hands and he's a really good Spider-Man choice. If you see the way he comes off in terms of just being a down-to-earth human, he seems very, just like a regular guy. One thing I didn't like about the actor of Tobey Maguire is, and just a personal opinion, that he comes off sort of snobby and someone who is distant that just like normal people wouldn't get along with. If you know what I'm saying, that's just my opinion that it's not a person that you could get along with or just very down to earth. It's the best way to describe it. And I think Andrew Garfield, he's going to be at least Spider-Man until 2018. What I think they're going for is because they mentioned the Sinister Six years ago. I think what they're going to have for the third or the fourth film is going to be the Sinister Six versus Spider-Man. It will not be the traditional original team, but it's going to be a new group, and maybe in one movie I'll have like 6 villains versus 1 Spider-Man. And it's kind of funny that outside of Venom, who was portrayed wrong, most of the villains chosen for Spider-Man movies are the classic Stan Lee and Steve Ditko villains. I mean, Electro was another character from that era. And my opinion for future Spider-Man villains is rather than recycle Dr. Octopus, who we already saw, let's get new villains. Kraven the Hunter would be perfect. You can use the animals like lions and tigers and gorillas, and he could tame them all. He could unleash them on Spider-Man in Central Park for a big fight. There's so much potential there. You got the Vulture. Even though he's old and they'll maybe make him younger, the Vulture is a fantastic villain, and you could have aerial battles in the sky. Another main villain is the Chameleon, Master of Disguise. There is so much you could do with a Master of Disguise like that with the Chameleon. There is so much potential in terms of Spider-Man and his world that the future of the movies look pretty good. But unfortunately, he will not be in an Avengers movie or Marvel ties. I don't think studios will get along and do that. And that kind of stinks, because it would have been nice to integrate Spider-Man into the Marvel world. And why couldn't the studios both share ownership? Just like Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch will be in the Marvel Studios version and the one owned by the Fox movie rights. Let's move on to the X-Men. If you saw the Wolverine movie, which was really good, the next Wolverine appearance will be in Days of Future Past. This is an X-Men movie that will have the First Class timeline, the current X-Men timeline, time travel, Sentinels. And my opinion is, once you introduce time travel to the mainstream audience, things can get really weird, okay? Things can get really strange. And would the mainstream public be able to keep along? Because time travel really does add an element of stuff out there. But it is something not really seen before in the superhero films, time travel. I really think this X-Men one is going to do really good, or it's going to do bad. You have a bloated cast of too many X-Men. And not only do you have X-Men in the present, or characters Magneto and Professor X, you have their past versions in First Class also appearing. Again, will that add confusion to the regular audience? Then you got a whole bunch of X-Men. At least 20 plus characters are in this film. That's big. And how are you going to balance story and character development at the same time? Not to mention 2 different versions of the same characters. And what no one is asking is, what's going to happen after that movie? What is the X-Men properties after that? Where does the timeline go? Unfortunately, actors like Hugh Jackman and the original crew are getting older. At what point is there going to be a complete reboot of the universe? And the First Class timeline don't really count as a reboot, because that was set in the 60s era and not the modern day. You need modern day X-Men. It's probably going to happen sooner rather than later, a full reboot. And let's say it does happen. Maybe it is time, because the X-Men audience really didn't turn out for the Wolverine movie in box office potential in the US. Maybe the audience members are tired of this version of that universe and they want a reboot. The general public I'm talking about. And where they go is, I think they go from the ground up. I think the use of the black costumes in the original, you don't need that anymore. You gotta go with the more colorful costumes that other superhero movies made since then have made wearing colorful costumes a possibility. Back when the original X-Men started out, there weren't too many superhero movies and you needed a serious tone. And you don't need that anymore. The new X-Men should be more colorful, should be more superhero-like. So that's just some X-Men talk. And there's supposedly rumors of an X-Force team, the comic book team with Cable and Deadpool and more, maybe being made into a superhero film. It's too early to tell what's going to happen there, if anything. The Fantastic Four reboot is heading into production soon, as I'm making this video. And that film is definitely going to happen. If you saw the director who did that really good movie called Chronicle, he's the one in charge of this one. And it just might set up a shared universe between the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. Of course, Fox owns those movie rights to both properties. So, I just thought I'd mention that. Fantastic Four, really too soon to tell how that's going to go direction-wise. They do have a quality director, but still way too early to tell. Now, switching over, let's talk about Marvel Studios. The properties that Marvel Studios is running in terms of films. We got Thor 2, The Dark World, coming out. First thing to notice, the Thor costume in the movies keeps evolving a little bit each time, and it keeps getting better. I think this costume looks better than all the previous films of the character. And this one, once again, has Loki in it. But you gotta wonder, he's becoming like Magneto. A cool villain, but do you really want to see the same villain in every film? After that Avengers appearance of a high point of being a villain, it's like, I think the audience needs a rest from that character. Let's get other villains. Thor 2, just like Iron Man 3, is building off the reputation of the first Avengers movie and leading into the Avengers 2 movie. And I guess we'll see what happens on that front, okay? I hope it's better than the first movie, and we'll see what happens. We got Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And Captain America, the funny thing is, the costume doesn't look too star-spangled, red, white, and blue-like. It's basically the Commander Rogers uniform, which is a modern-day look, and a helmet. Even the shield colors are different and darker. I thought just adding a little more red to the costume and make it just a little more patriotic would be cool. But this one, it's not really patriotic in theme. in terms of the red, white, and blue. The Winter Soldier, he looks like he swiped the new Goblin's mask from Spider-Man 3. But I really think it looks better that way on him. The Winter Soldier. That's going to be the main villain. It'll be interesting to see if the actors could carry that character drama of the Winter Soldier and Captain America and really tell the story. Because done right, and if they could portray it emotionally right, the Winter Soldier versus Captain America can have a huge potential to tell a really good story. And since it's already been posted online, it's no spoiler, but the Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, and Nick Fury do have roles in this film. Looks like pretty big roles, maybe. We got Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Guardians is definitely prepping for production, and I really think this is the most chancy property that Marvel is currently making. I think that is very chancy. Because is it going to come out right, or is it going to just be ridiculous? And you'd better get the computer graphics right, because if not, again, it could look really bad. You have a bunch of unknown characters, and unknown villain, and it takes place in outer space, like Star Trek. It's a really chancy Marvel movie. Personally, you know, how much are they going to spend budget-wise? This isn't a movie that I would break the bank on if I was, let's say, producing it, because it's such a chancy property. You have characters that are not well known, a villain not well known, talking animals, and outer space. If Marvel can make this movie a hit, then I think DC Comics, Warner Brothers, is in a lot of trouble of not developing their movie characters. Because if Marvel can have a hit with Guardians, then just about any property is fair game to have a hit. Of course, there's Avengers 2. And then you have, in the works, Ant-Man, Doctor Strange. Too soon to tell what's going to happen with those properties. I hope you like this. It's talking about movies on this video. A new format idea. Tell me what you think about it. If you like it, if you don't. I don't want to give spoilers away on this type of video, because that's not what it's about. And I'll save the DC talk for my next video in this series. So let me know, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.